How's everyone doing? My name is Kyle. I run the Lyft stake pool, and today I want to talk about taking the proof of donation metadata that Ray from Grow Pools is using and doing that for ourselves. Huge shout out to Ray. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking on the challenge of providing transparency for our delegators. I think this is a great solution to the problem. Being able to just get our receipts on there and timestamp and put it on the chain. But yeah, I think this is amazing, and I wanted to share with everybody how we can do this. So you can see I already have Node running. I'll go ahead and stop that just so we can do that. And I will. All right. So the first thing you want to do is download the Cardano wallet. Now, to be clear, I am doing this a very specific way. You could use your stake pool, CLI skills with the Cardano CLI and build your transaction, sign it, submit it, and all that stuff. You can do that. I'm doing this way because I think it's actually a really simple way to go about doing this, especially if you want to get to a place where you just want to tinker with metadata and you don't want to worry about running your scripts. And maybe you don't want to use your stake pool wallet. Maybe you want to use a different wallet to put your proof of donation. So, but first, let's look at what Ray is actually doing. Great transparency here, right? He's going through all his charity records, and he has a transaction linked to every single one of them. So let's look at it. I think this is the same one. Yeah, I already have it pulled up. So we have the metadata here. So we're going to replicate this almost to a T. I'll admit, mine's slightly different, but we'll get into it. It's basically the same though. To get those binaries for step 1, we just want to go to the Cardano wallet GitHub, go to releases, make sure we're on the latest one, and we scroll down to assets. You will see that they have all 3 operating systems. Pick the operating system that you're using. I'm using Windows. I've already downloaded my Windows binaries. I have them set up right here. So I have my bin folder. Here are the binaries that are in the zip file that come attached. So let's see, what's next on the list? Next, download the configs. This is probably another very easy thing for most stake pool operators. Ultimately, here we are. I'm doing this on testnet. I'm just trying to show you guys how we can do this ourselves and kind of follow what Grow is doing. You're going to need the config, both Genesis files and the topology. Then, don't need that. Let's see. I put those in my config folder. There they are, all 4 of those files. Next, we need to start the node. All right. Yeah. Again, nothing too crazy. I'm on Windows. I don't have a socket file. I use a pipe, so it's just kind of a socket in memory. And other than that, nothing too crazy. Yeah, should be very straightforward. So I'll put that in my first window here. No, I've already ran it to get it synced up, so I'm not going to have to wait on this. 2, we need to serve the Cardano wallet. Now, the Cardano wallet basically operates off of an API. So when we serve it, it's going to serve an API. It's just kind of the terminology we use in the web world. You can see that I am using testnet and the same socket, right? So that allows the API to connect to the node and interact. The other thing is this is very important if you want to keep the wallet that you create persistent. If you don't care that it's persistent or not, then don't provide that. And what I mean by persistent is when I shut down or basically turn off the API, like just shut it down, my wallet won't be there the next time I come back. So by saving it to a database, we kind of are mimicking Datalist, right? These are the same exact approach that Datalist is using. We just don't have a fancy UI. So we're going ahead and copy this. Now, before I do that, I kind of want to just demonstrate something. Let's go to the wallet. I'm just going to try to get some network information. And we will notice that it's going to fail. And there it did. And that's because in order for the CLI to work, you actually have to serve the API. And there it is. And to demonstrate that same command, now it works. And you can see that, here's the network tip, my node. You can see that the sync process says we're ready. Note, when you start it for the first time, you're going to see that the sync process is syncing, not ready, but it tells you the progress and stuff like that. All right. Now, note, I'm not going to use CLI to do most of this stuff. The only thing from here that we're going to do CLI with is just to get our mnemonic, which is part of step 5 of creating our wallet. Now, before we get into actually creating the wallet, let's review what we can do with the API. And we can talk about the 4 things we're actually going to use. 1, we will create a wallet or restore, right? It's kind of the same thing. The second one is we will have to get a list of addresses so we can fund our wallet if it's a new wallet, right? If you're just importing an original wallet, then clearly it's funded. Then the other one is transactions. Okay, so we will estimate the fees for the transaction with the attached metadata. Then after that, we will submit the transaction with the metadata on it. Pretty straightforward. All right, so let's create the wallet. What is required? We need a name, we need a mnemonic, and we need a passphrase. Those are the 3 things you have to have. All right, so the one caveat, and you can see here on the right about the mnemonic, is it actually needs to be a list of words. It can't just be a string of your words. But I will show you an easy technique to transform your list of words or your string of words into a list. All right, so let's get a mnemonic. So again, the Cardano address binary, this came alongside, or it came in the zip file of all the binaries. I'm just going to take this string. Now you can do this on any web page. Right click, inspect, go to console. Basically at this point you're kind of just like doing JavaScript in memory. So I'm just going to create a variable. You can see I've done this before. So var equals what was generated. Awesome. So if I just say x, you can see there my words being stored in memory there. Now what I want to do is I'm going to split this string by spaces. And by doing so, it gives me an array. Don't need that anymore. All right. Now, for the sake of time, I already have a wallet synced, so that we don't have to deal with this. But I'm still going to show you how to create the wallet. Here it is. Here's my old one. So I have my new wallet. Okay, let's call it something else. So new name. Perfect. That's great. Password, super secure. 1 through 0. All right. Now note we are posting here. If I do a get on the same endpoint of just /wallets, so basically this is your base URL, /wallets, it gives you a list of wallets. And like I said, I already have one. So you can say I have 1. If you post in sending this body, we will in turn create one. And you can see here it is, right? Name, new name. There's the ID for new name. And you can see that it is syncing. Let's go back to wallets. So we're going to get a list of wallets. All right, so my first one, which is just called metadata. Second one, new name, it is now at 3.29%. All right, so yeah, we're not waiting around for that one. So we're going to stick with metadata. So now we have this ID. This ID is used from here on out on every endpoint we'll need. Now, one thing to note, right? Metadata has no ADA. Really, Lovelace is how they use for units. All right. So if I use the same slash wallets and then I provide the ID, right? Instead of getting a list, I will just get the wallet itself. Not that we need it, but just to demonstrate. Next, let's get addresses. You can see I have here some, but using our wallet, wallet slash ID slash addresses. Again, we're using a get request on this. Let's go ahead and post that. All right, so now I have an address. Let's go ahead and fund this. Now I'm going to use a wallet that I've been working on with Roberto from the Peace Pool. He also runs Dandelion, so if you want like free services like the GraphQL or Postgres endpoint just to query some data, by all means, use that. It's so good. All right, so we're going to send, let's just send 5 ADA passphrase. Note that you can attach a metadata file in the Lyft wallet. Maybe I'll show you how to use the Lyft wallet to do the same thing we're doing here. But let's just go ahead and send the ADA. All right, cool. So actually, just to verify, because this is a work in progress wallet. Okay, good. All right, so let's go ahead and get. All right, so we're basically just waiting for the transaction to go through. There it is. All right, so transaction, that. All right, so we have our 5 ADA. All right, so now we can actually start with the metadata and constructing metadata and all that awesome stuff. So real quick, I'm gonna get a address to send to. So note, we do follow the rules that Daedalus even has to follow, which is the 1 ADA minimum. There may be ways around this. I know you can actually just send ADA to yourself and you just, but I don't think you can do that with the Cardano wallet. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know. I would love to be wrong on that. All right, so let's receive. All right, so we're going to send our 1 ADA. Yep, 1 ADA with our metadata. Now let's take a look at this beast. All right, so in the README, all right, so we've done number 6. We did the fund the wallet. Now let's create the JSON, aka our proof of donation. All right, so like I was saying, with the Cardano wallet, we have to use typed JSON. I call it typed JSON. It's probably not what it's called. But if we look at it, we can see that we have the pool ID, reason, charity. So this is where I was saying I do a little different. I replaced the donor ID with a fundraiser URL. I got the pool ticker, donation, date, amount, all the stuff. So I think the only thing I did different, hold on, let's look at. All right, so Ray has PayPal transaction ID, and I, by all means, like whatever is working for you, do it. What I did is I kind of followed a little bit what was going on here. For instance, we have like donation, date, amount, currency, and frequency. So we kind of took like what the donation was and we broke it up. I kind of did the same thing. In case you don't use PayPal, right? Let's say you actually use cryptocurrency and you're sending ETH or Litecoin or whatever. What I did instead, where are we at, is right down here. It's okay from here. I did payment method transaction ID. Okay, so payment method, right? PayPal. So again, I typically use PayPal with my fundraiser. So payment method type is PayPal, and then the payment method transaction ID would be basically the value that he put in. And then the charity reference payment ID, you might get a like a confirmation code or a transaction ID from your charity when you donate. That's what we'll put in here. No, I'm not actually gonna fill too much of this out. I have some of the stuff in here, but yeah, anything with IDs I'm not really gonna worry about. All right, so I'm just gonna copy this. And by the way, I will put this up on GitHub for everyone to use if you want to use it. All right, so I know it's all right here, but I just want to show you how you construct it yourself. So no, we are just doing fees right now. So when you do fees, we have the payment structure, right? So these are, you can send to multiple addresses, but we're only sending to one, the one ADA in the unit of Lovelace. Our TTL with quantity, just the kind of like more basic stuff. So what I copied was the actual metadata there. So I'm going to line this all up. Yep. Now, the one thing that is consistent, doesn't matter if you have to type it all, like use types. But this is wrong. That's map, not key. Let me make that change. There we go. Cool. All right, so we got all that in. Let's just go for it. All right, oh, yeah, got to put the wallet ID. All right, so grab the wallet ID. It's definitely not that. Here we go. Payment fees. There we go. All right. So we can see that that's what the transaction fee is. And then, if you do, let's do it without the metadata just to see what it looks like. So we can see the difference. All right. 16, almost 170,000 Lovelace, right? But with it is like 190. All right, so 20,000 Lovelaces, essentially. All right, so we want to do the same thing now, but to send it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Because, here, real quick, just to point this out, the API for an estimate and create are almost identical. Now, we can look over here. We have payment. You don't need to do the withdrawal. Metadata, time to live. But when you are actually submitting a transaction, this is when you need your passphrase. So that is the only difference between the two bodies. All right, so let's put it in. Passphrase, my super secret passphrase. All right, and you can see I've already done one. Well, burned again. Glad I did though. That way I didn't submit on a different wallet. All right, there we go. All right, it's pending. So what we're doing now is we're just waiting for this particular transaction to go from pending to in ledger. Now what we can do, I'm not going to get burned again. We're going to put the wallet ID, and we're just going to get a list of our transactions. So no, it's a get, right? So these two are posts. These is a get. So it's still pending. Pending. You can see our input is the 5 million Lovelaces, 5 ADA. We're sending our 1 ADA, getting our change. There's our fee, which is accurate. So the 190,757 is right there. So our estimate was accurate. We got an expiration. All right, so here's our metadata. So you can actually see the metadata also in the transaction. I'll show you another way to look at the metadata, because we like it to be pretty, right? All right, so it's in ledger. There we go. So it's been accepted. All right, so let's actually look at this thing. Like I said, we want it to look pretty. I was going to say that does not look right. I think I copied the ID. Yeah, I didn't copy the hash. Where are we at? Copy that ID. Much better. There we go. So there it is. That's your proof of donation. Clearly, if you do this on the mainnet, please use real values. But again, here's a dandelion tool. I think it's super useful. But yeah, I mean, if you have any questions or need help getting your proof of donation, again, thank you, Ray, for taking on this challenge and kind of picking up the torch for us. This has been awesome. I can't wait to start doing this myself. But thank you.